Blood Transfusions by Chelsea Bojorquez and Daniel Castillo. What is a blood transfusion? A blood transfusion is any blood component that may be removed from a donor and transfused into a recipient. Blood components can be transfused collectively or individually with varying degrees of benefit to the recipient. A blood transfusion is a procedure performed on patients who experience hypovolemia, which is a loss of fluid volume, as a result of significant blood loss. The patient can experience hypovolemia as a result of hemorrhaging, anemia, or disease processes that cause a deficiency, lowering the blood's ability to clot or transport oxygen. Such disease processes include severe infection or liver disease that stops your body from properly making blood or some part of blood. Blood is not only an essential component for transporting oxygen, but it also helps to deliver the waste product CO2 to the lungs, helps transport white blood cells to fight infections, and aids in the ability to clot when bleeding occurs. Before a blood transfusion, the first thing to do is to obtain a base set of vital signs, in order to observe if the patient is experiencing any allergic reactions to the blood product infused. You want to connect the catheter to a Y infusion set and run normal saline on a separate line. It is important to have everything set up first due to the fact that once the unit of blood has been retrieved from the blood bank, the infusion must be started no later than 30 minutes. Many hospitals have specific guidelines for blood products to be transfused. For example, having a platelet count of under 20,000 or a hemoglobin count of under 6 grams per deciliter. Legally, primary healthcare providers must prescribe the needed transfusion. The prescription typically states the type of blood product, dose, and transfusion time. A large bore needle is used and allows for easier flow of cells without occluding the lumen of the catheter. Once blood products are obtained from the blood bank, the infusion needs to begin within 30 minutes and completed in the appropriate time. For example, red blood cells must be completed within 4 hours of removal from the fridge. During the transfusion, once the infusion has begun, remain with the patient for the next 15 to 30 minutes to observe for any adverse reaction. All of the blood must be administered in less than 4 hours. While the transfusion runs, the nurse must document the procedure. Documentation must include date and time, name of the second nurse who verified, name and amount of the specific type of transfusion, as 1 unit of packed red blood cells, the number of the blood product infused, for example, 2 liters or 4 liters, where the IV site was, size of the catheter used, duration of the transfusion, the vital signs that were taken and when the vital signs were taken, and that the patient was educated to notify the nurse for any adverse effects. Filters are needed to remove aggregates and possible contaminants. Normal saline is the only solution that can be used with blood in order to prevent hemolysis. Hemolytic reactions usually occur within the first 50 milliliters or 15 minutes of the infusion. Fluid overload is a potential complication of rapid infusion. Changes in vital signs often indicate transfusion reactions. Febrile reactions are the most common adverse reaction associated with blood transfusions of packed red blood cells. Hemolytic reactions can also occur. Hemolysis occurs as a result of an incompatibility between the donor and recipient's blood, also referred to as ABO incompatibility. Signs and symptoms of hemolysis include flank pain, chest pain, restlessness, oliguria or anuria, respiratory distress, brown urine, hypotension, fever, and tachycardia. If hemolysis or febrile reactions are evident, the nurse needs to stop the infusion immediately, administer normal saline in a separate line from the Y tubing, and notify the MD. Signs and symptoms of a febrile reaction include fever, nausea, anxiety, patient feeling cold, and warm flushed skin. Considerations. There are several considerations to think about when preparing a blood transfusion. Before even beginning a blood transfusion, two requirements must be met: a doctor's order and the patient's consent. Obtaining a patient's consent is important because it is the right of the patient to be informed of their care, as well as their right to refuse any treatment. Frequently, a patient might refuse a blood transfusion because it goes against their religious beliefs, or they are concerned about the potential harmful effects of the procedure. People who might refuse blood transfusions based on religion are commonly believers of Christian Science or Jehovah's Witnesses. In this situation, the doctor or nurse might recommend plasma expanders, which do not have any blood products. An example of a plasma expander is serum albumin, which is a prototype drug for patients who are experiencing shock. Patients might also refuse a blood transfusion because they are afraid of the possible side effects. In 2018, a study was published that showed results from an interview of 506 patients at an academic hospital. Results of the interview showed that more than 10% of the patients believed that blood transfusions were generally harmful, and those 10%, 36% were concerned about acquired infections from blood transfusions. As a nurse, it is imperative to give teaching related to blood transfusions in order to address any fears or concerns of the patient that may interfere with their healing process. As stated earlier, fluid overload can be a problem of blood transfusions. Transfusion-associated circulatory overload, also known as TACO, is a serious adverse effect that can occur when a blood product is infused too quickly. Risk factors for the occurrence of TACO include old age, increased number of units transfused, left ventricular or diastolic dysfunction, history of congestive heart failure, chronic kidney disease. Signs and symptoms of a person suffering from TACO include at least 4 of the 6 following symptoms, as well as them occurring within 6 hours of a blood transfusion. The following symptoms are acute respiratory distress, tachycardia, hypertension, pulmonary edema, and fluid overload, which can appear as jugular vein distension or a bounding pulse. Ways to prevent a person suffering from TACO include reducing the number of units to be transfused, reducing the rate of transfusion, and monitoring the patient's intake and output. Most commonly, treatment of a person suffering from TACO is stopping the transfusion or slowing the rate and the administration of a diuretic, such as furosemide. Patients can also have allergic reactions. A person can suffer mild allergic reactions, which are usually caused by an allergy to the plasma proteins in the blood, or severe allergic reactions, which occur from a severe antibody-antigen reaction. Symptoms of a mild reaction include itching, pruritic erythema, swelling of the lips, tongue, or pharynx, or eyelids, and flushing of the skin. Treatment for a mild reaction include corticosteroids and/or antihistamines. Symptoms of a severe allergic reaction include chest pain, decreased oxygen status, loss of consciousness, flushing, shortness of breath, and respiratory stridor. Treatment for a severe allergic reaction includes giving supplemental oxygen and the use of epinephrine. Finally, a person can suffer from sepsis from a blood transfusion if there is some contaminant in the blood. This is treated by stopping the transfusion, giving IV fluids in a separate line, and giving antibiotics. The IV tubing, blood filter, and blood bag with its remaining content should be sent to the lab for analysis. A sample of the patient's blood and urine should also be sent to the lab for diagnostic testing. Types of transfusion products. There are 5 different products that can be given during a transfusion, based on the needs of the patient. These include packed red blood cells, platelets, fresh frozen plasma, albumin, clotting factors, and cryoprecipitate. A patient who needs packed red blood cells is one who is in need of increased oxygen transporting red blood cells, which may occur post-operatively with acute hemorrhaging or anemia related to cancers such as leukemia. Platelets are given for those who are adversely affected with a platelet deficiency or a serious bleeding disorder, such as thrombocytopenia. If their platelet count is less than 20,000, they will receive platelets. A doctor may order a transfusion of platelets even if the platelet count is higher, if the patient needs surgery or is bleeding. However, if the patient is not bleeding, a transfusion may not be needed. A patient may need fresh frozen plasma if they are in need of a clotting factor or are in need of increased blood volume that occurs in hypovolemia or hypovolemic shock. It is also an antidote for patients receiving antithrombolytics. Fresh frozen plasma may also be given to patients who are suffering from disseminating intravascular coagulation, a condition where all the clotting factors in the body are used up or broken down. Albumin is considered when a patient is in need for expanded blood volume and/or plasma proteins. This is most often seen in patients who have gone into shock. Lastly, clotting factors and cryoprecipitate are administered to patients who are suffering from a clotting disorder, such as a lack of fibrinogen or clotting factor 8, seen in patients with hemophilia A, and patients with von Willebrand factor, who need help for their platelets to work. Here are some practice Nclex questions to test your knowledge. Question 1. Why would a patient need a platelet transfusion? Select all that apply. The answer is A, thrombocytopenia, and D, platelet count under 20,000. Question 2. Signs and symptoms of transfusion-associated circulatory overload, also known as TACO. Select all that apply. The answer is B, hypertension, C, acute respiratory distress, and D, tachycardia. Question 3. Which is the nursing priority for a patient who will be receiving a blood transfusion? The answer is C. While A and B are correct, they are not the priority. It is pertinent to obtain patient's consent as well as a doctor's order. Here are the references used to create this PowerPoint. Along with this PowerPoint, there is a paper included to give more information on blood transfusions. Thank you for watching.